Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 6th of May. My disclaimer, I did this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at, we obviously had a pretty strong day yesterday. We have had a pretty strong night overnight. There has been news overnight, Operation Project Freedom, in its second day yesterday, was cancelled for the time being for 3 weeks while peace talks happen. And we are, of course, assuming that peace talks are happening. Sometimes I do wonder who the Iranians that Trump seems to be talking to actually are, or whether they really exist. But I would assume that some kind of talks are happening, and it's been suspended for 3 weeks, and the blockade will remain on, and the Strait of Hormuz will be closed. The whole point here, though, is, as I was saying a couple of weeks ago, it's not really about the war. It's about the Strait of Hormuz. And it doesn't matter who's got it closed. I mean, at the moment, we've got the Iranians arguing that the Iranians are keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed, and the Americans arguing that it's the Americans who've got the US Strait of Hormuz closed. But the point is that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's going to be closed for another 3 weeks. This is what the big economic problem is, that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Even if it opened up today, there would likely be a major oil shock over the next couple of months, 3 months, 4 months. If it's going to be closed for another 3 weeks, it's just going to get bigger. Every day, the world is short 10 to 15 million barrels a day. Probably closer to 10, but even so, that is a lot. When we had the oil shock after Ukraine, that was an amount far smaller. This is, by some measures, going to be the largest oil shock in history, and the Iranians know exactly what they're doing in terms of this, because this is what they want. They want to cause a lot of economic trouble. The Americans appear to be oblivious. So we had talks that basically we were closer to peace because the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed for 3 weeks while everyone is talking. But of course, that's not going to improve the situation in terms of the overall closure of the Strait of Hormuz and the oil shock that is in its early stages here. We're still mopping up. I gave an estimate a couple of weeks ago or last week that the industry press was talking basically about 10th of May. We'll have mopped up all the strategic reserves that have been released, and the water and the oil that was on the water when the Strait of Hormuz was closed, and then basically the real oil shock begins. Now, we've got other reserves too. We've got a fair amount of reserves above ground, but they're basically now declining in excess of 10 million barrels a day. That is going to get ugly. And that is what a lot of people seem to be missing here. But in the short term, we are going up, and that's great. I'm really liking what I'm seeing on the charts here, and I'm expecting it to go higher still. I was talking about those big two trend lines. Let's have a look at those now. Okay, these are the trend lines I posted a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about reaching resistance on them. And I've got some comments today about IWM, which I wasn't talking about then, but I'll talk about now. Right, here is the one on SPX. Where is that now? It's getting into now about the 7400 area. That would be about 7430 currently on ES, and this is assuming that, of course, ES reaches it in the next week and a half or so, because after that it's OPEX, and we switch over into the September contracts. So we shall see how that goes, but does that look doable? Yes. We reached 72.73 yesterday. We're currently plus 50 overnight. We were plus 70 when I was recording the bigger picture webinar earlier. We're now in range. So I would like to see this trend line hit. This one on Qs, I would like to see. Qs. I'd like to see hit, and I've got that currently in the 692 area. These could overthrow slightly. These are not channels. In terms of Dia, I'd like to see it make a new all-time high, but obviously it's lagging at the moment. IWM, I drew in this potential rising channel here. I'm pretty sure it's a rising channel. Let's just check that. In a moment. Yep, it's a rising channel. Obviously, the next target within the rising channel, and it looks as though it might want to make that, would be in about the 85, in about 290 area at the moment. Obviously rising, but Could we do that? Yes. Would it be fine? Yes. Would it be a nice pattern setup? Yes. So we will see how that goes. But I do have that in mind as a potential target. All right, let's have a look at the rest of the hourlies, and then let's go on to the bigger picture on the rest of the charts. Yes, we are at nosebleed levels. And if it wants to have a little bit of a retrace here into a morning low, that wouldn't surprise me a bit. No current negative divergence. We've got no negative divergence on RTY either. We've got no negative divergence on YM either. Still haven't quite retested this level. And we're still a long way short of the new all-time high. DAX had a flag target at a retest this high here, made it overnight. ESTX has a target at a retest this high here. Pretty close to making it overnight, but not quite. I'm expecting that to get made. On Nikkei, we are heading higher at the moment. As we are currently in blue sky territory on Nikkei, I don't really have a target for that. But it may be that it's going to make more sense as and when we reach it. Sometimes you need to reach the high to actually get a trend line. So we will see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those. And looking at ES, we are seeing nice moves up. We've got the daily middle band currently at 75.15. That is significantly above anywhere I'm thinking we might go. The RSI 5 sell signal is probably not going to fail if we go up another 100 handles from this high, because obviously this isn't a real-time chart. So we're probably going to hold the RSI 5 sell signal. I'd expect the weak RSI 14 sell signal to fail. So we'd lose the divergence. Thinking the same in terms of the weak RSI 14 sell signal here on SPX, but we'll likely hold on to the RSI 5 sell signal, which mainly is the one I watch anyway. On the 15-minute chart, now one thing I was saying was that one reason I was expecting this move higher was because we hadn't formed any decent viable patterns on either SPX or the Qs, and that generally meant that we were going to go higher. So far, we are going higher. What do we have here now? Because I think we can now confidently say this is a support trend line. Or at least I certainly hope so. And in which case, we've now got an established rising channel here, and it's nice. And we've also got, because this sort of kind of channel would often turn into a wedge, we've got a wedge resistance up here, which would be in the right kind of area if we're going to hit that bigger trend line here. This is the main target I'm now looking for on SPX. In terms of Qs, we are likely going to keep the divergence on the RSI 5. We got up to 95. That's the highest on this chart so far. It was the same with the SPX RSI 14 high. We're losing the RSI 14 sell signal. I think we lost it actually. Not a surprise and not a concern. We've got a possible full-size RSI 5 sell signal brewing. Nothing to see on the hourly chart, but on the Qs here, we've got options. We don't have this wedge resistance trend line isn't as high quality as the one I was looking at on SPX, and doesn't have the same kind of force, which is good because we're going to hit it before we hit the SPX one by quite a margin. It's probably going to go beyond. I will be looking at the other options here, but we also have a nice rising channel here from the low now, and we could, of course, make that slightly nosebleed target, but I've been thinking it probably fell below that. I'll be looking at options, but I was looking here and I didn't find this was the most likely wedge option. I think we're probably going to go through it. There are other options. I'll be drawing them in. All right. In terms of the Dia chart, Dia we're still struggling to get back up into the retest this high here at 499.93, and we haven't quite made that yet. I would like to see it go and reach the this high here at 503.37. Looking more promising this morning, but I'd still like to see this act a little more aggressively. But if we're going to see a move up to the target significantly higher on SPX and Qs and IWM, then I don't see why Dia can't pull its share as well. Would that give us much more than the double top here? Not necessarily, no. But it would give us a very nice bigger picture double top, which we might see play out later in the year. All right, let's have a look at IWM. IWM, on the daily chart, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. If that heads up to that target I was talking about, we could lose that divergence, which is the only divergence we've currently got. But that might give us time also to set up an RSI 5 divergence, which we don't currently have. On the IWM hourly chart, nothing to see really. On the 15-minute chart, I've got a nice looking wedge here, and that has a target up in the same kind of area as the other. We also have a potential channel here. So at least I think that's a channel. So we've got now 3 nice channels. This is what I was talking about in terms of where we might be going with this, and this is what I wanted to see. Yep, that's the channel 2. So we will see how it goes from here. We've got targets above. I don't think this move is likely to be finished. We will move on and we will see where it gets to. All right, in terms of DAX, DAX could retest the highs, the all-time high, and give us a nice looking double top here. But I've got to say, we've got a decent quality head and shoulders here already, but a double top would be prettier. Nikkei, I'm not really seeing, we're kind of in blue sky territory here across the board. I don't have any trend lines here. So in terms of how far this might get, it's hard to say. But we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. I'm slightly dubious about this going an awful lot higher, but at the moment it's being carried up with the US equities. We'll see where that goes. All right, let's have a look at DX, which is going down in sympathy with oil going down and with equities going up. This is promising because we might see as and when oil starts going up and equities start running into a brick wall as a result of that's going up, which is extremely likely, then we're likely to see this uptrend in DX resume, and we might possibly even reach my ambitious target at a retest of 114.75-ish. So in the short term, we might come down and make this double top target in the 96.76 to 96.99 range. Looking at the other currencies, not seeing an awful lot here. Wondering about the IHS target on Euro in the 1.1875 area. Not a lot to see on GBP. USD JPY, we failed. We broke up from this little level bottom yesterday. That failed hard. And I'm looking for the double top target in the 154.46 to 146.68 range. USD CAD, possible bottoming action maybe. Australian dollar breaking up the nice looking double top, which is a shame. NZUSD has broken up nice looking double top. We might be looking at getting patterns on both of those there, so that actually might take with one hand and give with the other. All right, let's have a look at the ZB chart. ZB, we're seeing a bit of a rally here. I've got to say, on the daily chart, I'm now noticing that we've got some nice positive divergence here, which could give us a decent rally on bonds here. I am wondering about an ABC that could take us higher. And I've got to say, the trend lines are supportive of that, and maybe if we're going to see a lot of really, really stupidly wild optimism on the oil chart and the equities chart over the next week or two, then maybe that's doable. We'll see. All right, looking at CN. CN, nice looking flag which broke down, but this could of course be an ABC as well. Looking at CL, looking at coil first, we've got a double top which is broken down with a target in the 95.71 to 96.26 range. I wasn't really rating this particularly high as a pattern, but, well, no, it was a nice quality pattern, but I was just thinking that looked wildly over optimistic. But actually, if there's one thing that the market is saying at the moment, it is and expressing strongly, it is wild optimism. So actually, this might be doable. We'll see whether it makes it. But that's the only pattern I've got. I haven't got one of those on CL, which is retraced sharply, but actually is taking some of that back. It got down to about 89 area and is already back up at 95. We will see. HO again, it's rallied back about half the way. I'm thinking we're probably going to see a little lower on these, but in terms of is it good news for oil that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed for another 3 weeks? Definitely, absolutely, 100% no. So it's kind of ridiculous it's even dropped on that news. So maybe it'll just get given straight back. NG not really affected by the Strait of Hormuz. We may be ending this rally, so we will see how this goes. We're coming back and testing the daily middle band. I think we'll see how it goes at that test. GC is rising in sympathy with equities and against oil at the moment. I would like to see that relationship change by the time oil starts going up and this become a flight to safety, but it doesn't matter really if it hasn't changed yet, but I'm slightly concerned about that. I'm expecting oil to go up a lot and equities to go down a lot, and I would like to see precious metals go up when that happens. SI, Nice little rally here. Palladium, nice little rally. Platinum, nice little rally. And HG actually made it all the way up to the high retest here, so we have a potential larger double top. Although I'm really expecting this HG to go down with equities as and when equities turn. In the short term, I am wondering about a possible retest of the all-time high, and so we could have significant more upside here. All right, looking at the other commodities, KC, we 6-minute sell signals reached possible near miss target. Forming a bearish triangle or flag, I think. SB has seen a very sharp retracement here, and it's possible this rally is just finished. We had a little negative divergence on the hourly chart that's basically broken down and made target in one move, which is always annoying. But testing the monthly pivot at the moment, we'll see how that holds. CC, we've got the bear flag channel is broken up. Could this be a bearish overthrow? No. There's no such thing as a bearish overthrow on a bear flag channel or a bull flag channel. Although that would be a bullish overthrow then, of course. So we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, but this is no longer a bear flag channel. And I'm not quite sure what it is yet. We shall see. CT, we're seeing a bit of a pullback here. I am wondering about a pullback on cotton, wheat, corn, and soy. We've seen small pullbacks here. We are seeing some signals suggesting there may be more. So looking for a bit more pullback here. 60-minute sell signal currently fixed. Lumber, waiting for a resumption of the downtrend. Might need to wait for an equities high to do that. On wheat, nice sharp retracement here. No current positive divergence. Corn, sharp retracement, no current positive divergence. Soy, sharp retracement, no positive divergence. ZL, not really a sharp retracement, no positive divergence here either. Live cattle may be resuming the uptrend, but the 60-minute sell signal hasn't reached target yet. And HE, we've got a bit of positive divergence here. I hadn't marked it in, but this is actually a weak RSI. There's a weak 60-minute buy signal. I'll see if I might mark that in for tomorrow. But that's looking promising for this being a double bottom, which I would very much like it to be, as I would like this to resume the uptrend and stop going down. We shall see whether I get that. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. All right, in that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and watch out for a post. I'll be posting something in about the next 2 or 3 hours, talking about, well, much of the stuff I've been talking here, but basically fine-tuning the targets above and looking for those trend lines to be formed and for those patterns to be formed for a decent high. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. See you guys tomorrow. Cheers.